Hey, it's Ocean. This is a lot to share with the world, but I am not here to just share the good parts of life and the good parts of society. I'm here to be real and to show up and present my life as it is and my space as it is. And I would like to talk about what it's like living in Black Sands neighborhood where I just moved and bought my house. My house is lovely and I love my space. First, I'd like to show that, and then I'd like to talk about some of the things I've been dealing with here so that I am not alone in it. Here's like out my beautiful living room window. That's a massive window. I always dreamed of living in a house with a huge window. I have beautiful ladies adorning it, beautiful art. I love my couch and carpets. I love just my space. I love my space here. And I've already been making these long raised beds, 1, 2, 3 long raised beds. I've already been propagating plant babies like crazy. There's over 100 out there. Here's a little bedroom where my cat chills. That's my cat bed. She needs the whole thing, yes. There's my artist studio, and all the buildings are this perfect teal color, which is exactly what I want in life. I love my bedroom and the artworks in my bedroom and the views from my bedroom. Yes, and my closet. Dun, 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 dun. I love my kitchen and my table. I'm watching some TED Talks. That's my bathroom out there, which actually has a bathtub. Artist studio. View when I cook. I mean, it's stellar. Okay. So I just love this house, and I loved it the instant I came here, and I knew it was a bad neighborhood. I was aware, when putting in the offer and when getting the offer accepted and moving here. I saw the abandoned cars, filled with trash on the way in. There's like 5 on my road alone. And yeah, this is poverty. In Hawaii, it's so expensive to buy a house. It's pretty much unaffordable for a lot of locals. And I'm in a place where the volcano is and the land can be swept away. So there's cheap land here. It's like some of the cheapest land on all of the islands. This is the place. And I've never lived in a bad neighborhood in my life. I've never heard screaming. I've never heard just anything like what I've experienced so far here. And it takes a lot of processing. It takes a lot of stepping into something very new for me. And it's a lot to handle. So there's a woman here who was squatting in my house upon arriving, and she had her stuff everywhere and like food in the forest collecting flies, and like she moved out on the first day, but I've been cleaning her stuff and making my house nice and furnishing my entire house, which had nothing in it. It was a lot of work. And since then, she actually owns the parcel next to me, and she's a very unstable human. And at first, oh my God, at first I was at war with her, like in my mind. I had to play it nice because I want to buy her parcel so that I don't have to deal with someone who's very unstable from the use of drugs that fry your brain. And I had these judgments and I felt unsafe. Like the basis of it was I felt unsafe. And then I took 5 meows, which is a form of psychedelics. It's not the proper name, but it's a good name for it. And it was completely, I experienced just the peace and harmony in the universe, like divine essence, my divine self, love and abundance on a scale that, yeah, most people never get to glimpse. So the next morning, I went over to her and I was just in a very vulnerable space. And I said, I have nothing against you. Like, please understand that this is all new for me. Like, I am not used to someone screaming and cursing, and I'm not used to this amount of energy. I'm not used to any of this, and it has nothing to do with you. And yeah, I just told her where I'm at and why I'm there and that I felt unsafe, and we hugged. Like, I never thought I'd go over and hug my my unstable neighbor by any means. And then like it got like I'm not quite there yet, but I know that there's a way to function that's from this level of love and abundance, that and praying for people. And I don't know, like I know it's possible. I'm not there yet perfectly. I don't think anyone can be there perfectly, but yeah, it's hard because like after some guests left, I had the house to myself for the first time. And I got home, and that was the day that Sarah was moving into the forest next to me. And she was like screaming at some people. And like that energy, I am so sensitive. Like I was just kind of devastated. I was like, why? Why couldn't I just have one day at my beautiful house that I've been furnishing? There's no people around. Like, why? So it's been a process, like a motherfucking process living here. And I realize it's been a process of moving into a bad neighborhood and clearing out my own energies. Because I am here on this island to heal. Like, I am here on this island because I fucking love myself and I vote for myself. And I want to just clear out everything that's not serving me and let it all go. And I desire to find a different way of living and a different way of being. Um, and this neighborhood's getting better. Like, I've sensed it, and I've known that from the start because I went to some community meetings, and there are really great people here. I've been doing the garden every Wednesday. Apparently, there's help for the children here. It's this older woman from New York, and she leads like kids things in this subdivision. And just today, the locals have a way of like self-policing neighborhoods by burning people's houses to the ground and beating them and like stuff like that, which sounds horrid, but I don't know, like something about it works. Like something, the reason why the person that moved into my like forest, she's been here for years and she's been stealing from people for years. And she's been manipulating and yelling at people and causing chaos for years. She accidentally thought that the property next to me was hers. And she built an entire house there where she was partying every night until like 3 a.m. And had domestic abuse fights, and the cops were called daily for about a year until someone burnt that house to the ground. And then the same time I move in my house, she realizes that she owns the property right next to me on the other side, and she built on the wrong property. So she started moving into the jungle next to me. Like the same time that I moved to my new first house. It's kind of crazy. Like, it really is. And because she's been stealing from I'm not going to mention names, because she's been stealing from another neighbor, that neighbor this morning, the men from the neighborhood came to her and started like threatening her, and she called the cops, and then all the cops were here, which, considering she lit the forest on fire twice, the cops have already been here twice, and this is just in a few weeks. She left because she felt unsafe when the cops were here, and then the cops left, And then the neighborhood proceeded to tear down with a machete her tent. And they were screaming and saying, like, I'm going to burn this fucking house down. And they were breaking bottles and breaking glass and shredding and tearing things. And I can hear everything from my house. And yeah, I I think she's going to consider selling me her land, because you just can't live in a neighborhood and steal from people and not make good relations and think you could just live, sustainably here. And I feel for her, like I do. Today she had a complete mental meltdown, not a mental, but just a meltdown, and she just was so. She's in so much pain. Like at first, I dehumanized her. I thought of ways to sabotage her, like similar to what they just not similar to what they just did. I would never do that, but I mean sabotage of sorts. Like I thought of every way I could get her to leave, like how I mean it has taken a mountain of patience and grace and not knowing what I'm doing and not knowing how to relate to her, because you can get on her bad side in like 5 seconds. She can go from very happy to a very mean person in like a second. So like I don't know how to deal with these energies. This is new to me. I've never lived in a place like this, and I also see hope. Like while I was talking with the lady who lives across from her this morning after the cops left, to just say like, hey, listen, I have no dog in this game. Like I just want to be a peaceful person living here. And she is a very abundant person and has very similar thoughts to me. And the day I moved in, she brought me a bunch of fruit, and other neighbors brought me like the Hawaiian leis. So like all of it exists in this neighborhood of Black Sands. I'd say some of the best and some of the worst. And it all exists inside me and society. And when I was talking with her, she has like 5 children. This 4 or 5 year old girl is on the road drinking a beer. Like, I mean, seriously, 4 or 5, not any older, just drinking a beer. So like, it just hit me that like I could have moved into a neighborhood like Seaview, somewhere where there's yoga every day and people bike to the beach, and they, it's just much more high vibe with the kind of people that I'm used to. But instead, somehow I ended up here where there is all of it. And I mean, I'm not going to pull any conclusions from this yet, but I have a desire to step in here in some regard. And I already have. I've already been running the garden, and they offered to make me president of the garden. There's already a children's program here. And like after seeing what I witnessed today, like I'm interested in just, I don't know. I'm not going to say yes to anything yet, but I am starting to sense that people like me are needed everywhere. Like, not just in the good neighborhoods to make them even better. They're needed everywhere. And I didn't know quite what I was stepping into when I bought this house. And I love it. And I've been finding more, like, even in the violence and in the disruption and the poison that is here and present, I've been able to find peace and harmony here. And find peace and harmony for even her. Like, and I really do feel that whether or not I can purchase that land just to protect it and then have like jungle over there and peace, and actually over here there's nobody living. It's like I'm surrounded by the tropics, and I love this house and this space. So I just want to make a video blog of like, like, just like, I just want like awareness. I want more awareness to like neighborhoods like this, and the like, even the lady who has the children, her husband is abusive and has been for 12 years, and she prays for him. Like, although she has a hard time like loving him, she's praying for him and his abundance, and that's beautiful. Like my parents are praying from Florida, like for this community. Other people, like the guy who helps me with the garden, he used to be an alcoholic like 20 years ago, and he says what keeps him out of using alcohol is helping people. And he is so helpful. Like he's given me a million celeries and a pepper plant and the prettiest clippings of his trees, and like he helps with the garden and gets mulch and brings water there daily, and we feed the neighborhood with the food that we make in the garden. So there's so much poverty here that like already I've been helping plant cucumbers and put out food for people, and I help my neighbor who's a much elderly lady from Australia who has no passport and she has no family and she's very old. She lives in a greenhouse and she sings folk music, and that's how she makes her money, is tips from singing folk music at this really cool cafe in Pahoa. So me and another woman drive her, there and back, and we hang out with her, and there's like this women's support group that knows of her. So there's women from the cafe who bring her water. I've taken her trash out. Like slowly, I've noticed here how people can help each other, and how even in rough places there's people who desire to help. There's people who have the abundance to like share, and a desire to transform this community. And I would not be here if that desire was not here. And if I did not experience that desire, going to the community meetings was one of the first things I did here. And I got to meet the people here, and feel how we can turn communities around, or just help in whatever way we can. So I'm excited, actually. I'm kind of curious to like see what happens. Like, damn, I mean, I cannot describe, like, I cannot describe to you some of the stuff that's happened here so far. Like theft, forest fires, yelling, screaming, cursing, bipolar people, and people just shredding people's houses up. I mean, twice a group of people this morning went and took a machete to her home. Yeah, I've had to call the cops twice and the fire department once. So, I mean, I am holding it down. Whew, my goodness. It is interesting the places I find myself in, and I mean, the world is incredibly interesting. So, I plan to make more videos and keep people updated on life here, and yeah, just everything. Once again, here's my just gorgeous garden space filled with purple flowers. And I'm so excited to develop it and plant and just like with abundance. So once again, this is Ocean. Mahalo. Goodbye.